Samuel 19. Then Saul told his son Jonathan and all his servants to kill David. But Saul's son Jonathan liked David very much. So Jonathan told David, "My father Saul is trying to kill you. So be careful tomorrow morning. Find a hiding place and stay in seclusion. I will go out and stand beside my servant in the field where you are. I will speak to my father about you. Then I will find out what the problem is. I will let you know." So Jonathan spoke on David's behalf to his father Saul. He said to the king, "The king should not sin against his servant David, for he has not sinned against you. On the contrary, his actions have been very beneficial to you. He risked his life when he struck down the Philistine, and the Lord gave all Israel a great victory. When you saw it, you were happy. So why would you sin against innocent blood by putting David to death for no reason?" Saul accepted Jonathan's advice and took an oath, "As surely as the Lord lives, he will not be put to death." Then Jonathan called David and told him all these things. Jonathan brought David to Saul, and he served him as he had done formerly. Now once again there was war. So David went out to fight the Philistines. He defeated them thoroughly, and they ran away from him. Then an evil spirit from the Lord came upon Saul. He was sitting in the house with his spear in his hand when David was playing the lyre. Saul tried to nail David to the wall with the spear, but he escaped from Saul's presence, and the spear drove into the wall. David escaped quickly that night. Saul sent messengers to David's house to guard it and to kill him in the morning. David's wife Michal told him, if you do not save yourself tonight, tomorrow you will die." So Michal lowered David through the window, and he ran away and escaped. Then Michal took a household idol and put it in his bed. She put a quilt made of goat's hairs over its head and then covered the idol with a garment. When Saul sent messengers to arrest David, she said, "He is sick." Then Saul sent the messengers back to see David, saying, "Bring him up to me from his bed so I can kill him." When the messengers came, they found only the idol in the bed and a quilt made of goat hairs on its head. Saul said to Michal, "Why have you deceived me this way by sending my enemy away? Now he has escaped." Michal replied to Saul, "He said to me, 'Help me, get away or else I will kill you.'" Now David ran away and escaped. He went to Samuel in Ramah and told him everything that Saul had done to him. Then he and Samuel went and stayed at Naioth. It was reported to Saul, saying, "David is in Naioth in Ramah." So Saul sent messengers to capture David. When he saw a company of prophets prophesying with Samuel standing there as their leader, the Spirit of God came upon Saul's messengers, and they also prophesied. When it was reported to Saul, he sent more messengers, but they prophesied too. So Saul sent messengers a third time, but they also prophesied. Finally, Saul himself went to Ramah. When he arrived at the city, at the large cistern that is in Sukkah, he asked, "Where is Samuel and David?" They said, "In Naioth in Ramah." So Saul went to Naioth in Ramah. The Spirit of God came upon him as well, and he walked along prophesying until he came to Naioth in Ramah. He even stripped off his clothes and prophesied before Samuel. He lay there naked all day and night. For that reason it is asked, "Is Saul also among the prophets?" So we'll come back to this, but just interesting here. Why is he stripping his clothes off to prophesy to God? Why is he stripping his clothes off? I'll come back with some ideas, but I won't want to miss that. He sends 3 different groups of men. They all end up prophesying. Saul ends up prophesying again. Saul prophesied early on. Again, the idea of prophesying should be declaring the truths of God. So even if he does not want to, he is declaring the truths of God. In all of these things, we never have written down what is being declared. Maybe it's because it's not specific revelation, meaning it's new information or it's predicting the future. It could simply be praising God, who he is, declaring the truths of who God is. God is the one who brought us up from the land of Egypt. That could be declaring the truth of God. That could be prophesying. So we have that all happening and going on. All right, let's get back to the beginning of this. So Saul told his son Jonathan and all his servants to kill David. So Saul has given orders to kill David. But Saul's son Jonathan liked David very much. Why do we have it only liked him very much? We had earlier, he was delighted greatly in David. Oh my goodness, that sounds like liked very much does not sound like delighted greatly. Okay, like we already had that their souls were knit together. So the liked him very much is like downgraded. Like, well, I used to really be knit together, but now I only like you. Like, this is what you need to think through when you make translation decisions sometimes. Liked him very much. Like, we already had the whole thing up above of they were knit together. Now we're going to just like you very much? I mean, come on. Like, it. Anyway, let me go on before I get more complaining. So David told him, my father Saul is trying to kill you. So he hears it. He goes and warns him. He doesn't confront his father immediately. Maybe it was, let me get David into protection first. My father Saul is trying to kill you. Be very careful tomorrow morning. Find a hiding place and stay secluded. I will go out and stay beside my father. Stand beside my father in a field where you are. I will speak to my father about you. When I find out the problem is, I will let you know. So part of this is I'm going to go out into a field where you are. Why? So David can hear it for himself. David is not going to believe it. Why not? He's only attempted to kill you a couple of times. He's thrown a spear at you a couple of times. Oh my, no. Does he really want to kill you? David could just brush it off as the evil spirit, the bad spirit that's come upon him that is tormenting him. He's throwing the spear at whoever's there. It happens to be me. Maybe the evil spirit is trying to get the music to stop. Maybe he's not really trying to kill me. You can rationalize however you want. So maybe David has. So Jonathan spoke on David's behalf to his father. He said, the king should not sin against his servant David, for he has not sinned against you. On the contrary, his actions have been very beneficial to you. He has risked his life when he struck down the Philistine, going back to Goliath, who you should have given your daughter to him at that moment. And the Lord gave all Israel a great victory. When you saw it, you were happy. So why have you sinned against innocent blood by putting to death David for no reason? Okay, here's the chance for Saul to say there's a reason. Saul accepted Jonathan's advice and took an oath. As surely as the Lord lives, he will not be put to death today, maybe? Or you're not holding to your oath. You're not holding your oath if he ever keep to try him again. But anyway, when David so then Jonathan called David and told him all these things. Jonathan brought David to Saul, and he served him as he did formerly. So David has been restored because Jonathan, the son, has intervened between his dad and his best bud. Now, once again, there was war. So David went out to fight the Philistines. He defeated them thoroughly, and they ran away from him. Then an evil spirit from the Lord came upon Saul. Okay, we still have, and we continue to have, and part of the reason is, I think we can just go in the direction of, and we'll get to a point that proves it in a minute. Saul is not a full follower of Yahweh. If he follows him at all, he's thinking of him as one of many gods. So if the presence of the spirit of a god you're not fully connected to comes upon you, its presence is going to be evil upon you. So the evil spirit, the bad spirit, the tormenting spirit comes upon Saul. He's sitting in the house with his spear in his hand while David is playing the lyre. Once again, playing the lyre to soothe it. So Saul tried to nail David to the wall with the spear, but he escaped from Saul's presence and drove the spear into the wall. David escaped quickly that night. So my father's trying to kill you. Let me get you back and into the palace, and he's going to try to kill you again. I don't know how many times we're counting. And he did another time, counting this time. Was there another time in between? How many times does this actually happen? Don't know. It's just a repetition of the Spirit comes upon him to reveal in some ways the truth of his pettiness, of his anger, bitterness, vitriol for no reason, and he acts with a temper tantrum and tries to kill David. So Saul sends messengers to David's house to guard it. So this time he's not getting away. So they're going to guard him and going to kill him in the morning. Why do they not kill him in the night? Because his daughter's there. Don't want to break in the middle of the night. Don't want him to slip out somewhere else. We're going to guard it outside. Make sure he doesn't escape. Then David's wife Michal told him, "If you do not save yourself tonight, tomorrow you will die." How does she know? How does she know? And it doesn't matter. Anyway, she finds out. So she lowered David through the window, and he ran away and escaped. So we go back to Rahab, who lets down the spies through the window, and they escape. Now we have David being let down a window, and he escapes. Later, we'll have Saul let down a window, and he'll escape. Apparently, thinking people are coming from high windows is not something people are always thinking is going to happen, but it does. It apparently is a good way to escape. So then Michal took a household idol and put it in his bed. This has to be a large enough thing to fit in a bed and pretend. So this is a household idol. Okay, not a little one in your hand, the household. Well, in the king's household, you're going to have a big idol. The teraphim, also a second time in the verse, and once in verse 16, these were statues that represented various deities. According to 2 Kings 23:24, there were prohibited during the time of Josiah's reform movement in the 7th century. The idol Michal placed under the covers was of sufficient size to give the mistake impression that David lay on the bed, thus facilitating his escape. So, and she also made goat's hair over its head. She put a quilt of goat's hair over its head. Quilt sounds large. I don't know why we would have quilt. The exact meaning of the word is uncertain. It is found in Hebrew word only here. And in verse 16, it probably refers to a quilt made by goat's hair. Well, quilt is a giant thing that covers the whole bed. Perhaps used as a fly net while one slept. Pillow makes more sense. Cushion, net. Yeah, just a quilt makes it sound large. That's all I'm saying. Okay, so she puts goat's hair. What does that remind us of? Oh, wait a minute. Didn't Rebecca do that on Jacob to fool Isaac into giving the blessing to Jacob? So we have some chicanery going on. We still have deception going on. And then she also said he's sick. But here's the thing you should not miss. There is a household idol, not a little tiny one, that could be excused or forgotten or slipped by or hidden. A household idol large enough to be the size of a person means Saul's household is not following God. He has idols in his household. He is following other deities. So, if a tormenting spirit, if a spirit comes from God, it torments him. It's evil to him because he's not following God. I do not think that Saul is actually a follower of Yahweh. If anything, he just has him in the pantheon of gods, thinks, yeah, he's the God of the territory. He's the God that brought us out, but I got to serve all these other gods. I got to do all these other things. Here's proof of it. The idol that is there in the household of his daughter would, like David ain't putting it there. He come to live in Saul's household. Whether this is attached to the palace or it's a different location, we don't get that specifics in the details of it. Doesn't matter. He is serving another god. It just seems so clear and obvious he is not a follower of Yahweh, which is why he doesn't do the right things. It's why he tries to take on and do them himself. He doesn't fear God. He doesn't follow God. He doesn't serve God. David does. Then Saul sent messengers back to David, saying, "Bring him up from the bed so I can kill him." When the messengers came and found only the idol on the bed and the quilt made of goat's hair at its head, Saul said to Michal, "Why do you deceive me this way by sending my enemy away? Now he has escaped." Michal replied to Saul, "He said to me, 'Help me get away, or else I will kill you.'" Why does she say this? Send him away. Send me away. Why should I kill you? The question has the force of a threat in the context. So she definitely is saying the reason she cooperated was under threat of violence, that he would kill her. Why does she say that? She is the king's daughter, and she is in love with David. Would not saying, "Because I love him so, Dad, I had to," be enough to help her escape? Instead, she's throwing David under the bus. She's throwing David under the bus. So is she doing this out of fear? Doesn't sound like, or she, like, you could make the claim she's doing it out of love, but if she's doing it out of love, I think she could have went the other direction and said, "I love him, Dad. You know I love him, Dad. I had to help him. I didn't want my love to die." Simple, forward, straightforward. Could have done that. Don't think Dad's doing anything. Here, he said to me, "Help me or else I'll kill you." He's throwing David under the bus. I don't know why she does this. Do not know. Anyway, Christopher, we'll get to your question in a minute there. Now, David had run away and escaped. He went to Samuel in Ramah, and he told him everything Saul had done. Then Samuel went to Naioth. It was reported to Saul, saying, "David is in Naioth in Ramah." So Saul sent messengers to capture David. When they come, remember, where Samuel is, Samuel has schools for prophets. We see this occasionally. There are schools for prophets. You learn in these schools to be able to prophesy. One of the things that accompanies them is singing, and we need to be thinking about declaring the truths of God. So they learn how to do these things. There's places where they are doing these schools. We've had it a couple of times show up in the Bible. We have it a couple more times. Samuel does this occasionally. So there's a school for prophets probably here. He goes there. Men are sent. And the messengers start prophesying. He sends them again. The messengers start prophesying. He sends them a third time. The messengers start prophesying. Now, do the messengers come back and prophesy to Saul? That's what I want to know. Do they come back and prophesy to Saul? "Saul, you're never going to kill David. Saul, God is going to kill you." Like, what are they prophesying? I don't know. We don't have that recorded. The point is, none of Saul's messengers can get to David. The power of God's Spirit is so powerful in this place, you cannot help but be overcome by it and declare the truths of God, which is what happens to Balaam. When Balaam cannot declare falsehoods, he declares God's truth when he encounters God. Finally, Saul himself goes to Ramah. When they arrive at the large cistern in Sukkah, he asked, "Where's David?" And they said, "He's in Naioth and Ramah." Dude, why are you stopping off some other place? Why are you stopping at another place along? Why are you stopping at Secu? Your servants knew where he was. Saul, can you not find places? Seriously. So Saul goes to Naioth in Ramah, and the Spirit of God came upon him as well, and he walked along prophesying until. So Saul is still coming. He's still going to get there. But when he gets to the presence of Samuel, he strips off his clothes and prophesies before Samuel. He cannot help it. He cannot bring harm. He can only bring truth, and he is stripping himself naked. Lay there naked all day and all of the night. For this reason, it's asked, is Saul among the prophets? He's doing it again. He's done it before. Is Saul actually among the prophets? He prophesies. The Spirit overpowers him. He can't resist it. So I was asking why he was naked, if anyone happens to have any idea there. So my thought on some level, let me get to Luce's comment first. I think she is playing a double agent, because if she makes it seem like she's is on the side of her father, then she can protect David and can inform on her father playing against him, because Saul, by his statement, it would have seemed that he had already informed her that David was an enemy, just on your way of thinking. But we have to go back to that. If we didn't have that Michal loved David, and then Saul finds out about it and it pleases him, and then Michal loves David after being married, and Saul's upset about it. So maybe it could play off of the Saul knows, or Saul, she now knows that he's upset with her love. Maybe she is. Maybe she is trying to play that way. But my thought is, throwing David under the bus by saying he tried to kill me, she could have come up with another excuse of, I was asleep. David must have did it, and then I just thought he was sick. He told me he was sick when he went to bed. She could have made up another lie, is my point. She could have said, David said he wasn't feeling well, so I left him alone, and I assumed that that was him in bed. Like, she could have made something else up instead of he threatened my life. So anyway, just thoughts on that. Here on the stripping the clothes in order to prophesy, Saul is stripping off all his kingly garb, is one thing that he's stripping off. Saul also is tainted and not able to come into Samuel's presence in some way because of all of the wrong that he's perpetrating. So anything that he has touched in relationship to, and I think he's going to be stripping off his armor. I don't think he's traveling without his armor, his spear, which he's tried to kill David with, but he is stripping all the way down to being bare naked, whether we include underwear or not, I don't think is the point. He is shaming himself. He has shamed himself by trying to kill David. Now he is shaming himself. However, at times, prophets do get naked, do expose the shame of the people. So this is exposing the shame of the king. The king's shame is being exposed here. It is to his shame that he has come here to try and kill David. Now his shame is fully being put on display.